Okay, I think you're gonna love this one. Hey there, it's Fabienne here. Thanks for jumping back into the Fabienne Show with me. And before we jump into today's episode, I want to ask you something important. Are you doing everything in your business and still not growing the way that you want to? I'm asking this because it's actually so much more normal than you think. And you are not alone. There are so many brilliant women that I work with stuck at 6 figures or 7 figures. And it's not because they're not capable, but it's because they've become the bottleneck. They're holding on to too much. They don't have the right support. And scaling feels not only out of reach, but overwhelming. But that changes today. And in this conversation, you're going to hear from my client, Daria Malin, who went from maxed out and overwhelmed to scaling towards $1 million a year business. Why? Because she got systems in place, a dream team that is affordable, and time freedom. If you've been wondering how to grow without burning out, you are going to love this episode. And I want you to take notes because she lays out the whole formula on how she's reaching $1 million a year in just 18 months from bottleneck to 7 figures. And if you feel a full body yes while listening, I invite you to book a free get acquainted call with me or my team. Let's explore what's possible for your business. Okay, let's dive into this episode. I hope you love it. Hello, hello. This is Fabienne, and I am very much looking forward to our time together today with Daria, who is here to share some inspiration of what she's doing to her business to leverage it, to make twice as much, working half the time. Daria, tell everybody what your business is.
You bet. I'm Daria Malin is my name, and my company is Boost Strategic Coaching, and we offer current and innovative sales and marketing coaching and training to corporate teams, franchisors, and entrepreneurial groups.
Amazing. You jumped into the container of Bold Heart, the leveraged business program, about a year and a half ago. And I always like to see what is it that you were experiencing a year and a half ago in your business? What were the things that were working or not working that made you say, I need a transformation here. I need to do something differently because more of the same is creating more of the same. What was it like a year and a half ago?
Yeah, it was more and more of the same. So I started Boost Coaching 8 years ago, and it was private one-on-one coaching for entrepreneurs. And about 3-4 years ago, I launched an online course, and then organically group training started to be coming our way and opportunities to build that were happening. But I couldn't get bigger. I kept responding to what was coming, but then I would be at capacity. And I knew there was more opportunity out there, but I couldn't get to it. And I had a small support team, but it really actually just really one VA and then the odd extra kind of contractor for things. But I felt like I'm still having to keep all the ping pong balls in the air. I have to remember all of the financial stuff and all of the business development stuff and all the admin stuff. And then I have to delegate it. And then I have to be the one to approve it all. So I felt like I was just doing all the things and I couldn't seem to give anything away. And it wasn't because I'm a control freak. I just didn't know how to build a system and process and get the right team in place that could own parts of it so that I could breathe. And so I remember I started to ask around. I looked at another program based on a conference I'd gone to, and it was very hard sell. And I was like, nope, that's not it. So I just asked in my network, and somebody mentioned your name. And he said, I don't remember much about her, but you should read this book. So I got the audiobook, and I remember listening to it over a weekend, start to finish. And I was just nodding the whole weekend. I was like, how did you get into my brain and like write a book about what's happening in my brain? Because you were saying like, you're stuck at a specific revenue, and you're delegating, but you're still on charge of everything, and you just can't get out of that. And you're the bottleneck. And I So I essentially nodded through the whole book and I was like, where do I sign? And so I booked a time with you or whatever the process was. And I remember feeling like, this isn't fast enough. I want to talk to her today. I know I need this. Yeah. And so where I was just, I was completely the bottleneck. And even though I had the right intentions to get out of that, I couldn't see past it. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to hire properly to do that. And I didn't know what steps to take. So that's where I was 18 months
this
ago.
is super common because this is what happened to me, like 15, 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I never learned initially how to get clients. I never learned how to hire people that, were right fit.
Yeah.
I never knew how to create systems. Like, we're not taught these things.
No.
And so we jump in, we do great work for our clients, and then we get stuck. And it can be really frustrating. Were you working evenings and weekends, Daria?
You know what? Because I have a busy family, I tried not to, but I certainly felt I would sometimes, absolutely. But I also felt like I'm trying to keep it to weekdays for the most part, but I'm never getting enough done.
Yeah.
So it wasn't
the
like,
to-do list is just never ever growing.
Yeah. And the biggest thing was that I wasn't getting to new opportunities and follow-up. And I teach sales. I know how important follow-up is, and I'm telling my clients to do it. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, when am I going to reply or check in with that person? So all the things I knew were so important, I wasn't getting to them at the volume I needed to, for sure. Yeah.
So you needed to get out of the day-to-day operations of your business, and you needed to and you recognized the opportunity right away in reading the Leveraged Business book. So you jumped into the container.
Yeah, I actually read the book, and then I loved your actual list of the activators. Those all, I'm like, okay, marketing's okay, but you can obviously I teach marketing, but I can always get better at my marketing, and all of the pieces in there, I knew I would love to learn more or just level them up. Yeah.
Typically, for almost everyone, the marketing that got us here won't get us there.
Yes.
The team that got us here won't get us there, etc. So this is what we teach in the program. So you've been in for a year and a half, understanding this is a journey, and that we all have bigger places to go, and you're not finished with the program yet. What have you been able to create as a result of what you've already implemented, understanding we're still in the middle of it?
Yeah. So I've been able to create my dream team, my unique, brilliant dream team, where people other than me are actually in charge of things and doing things, so that I don't have to think about every single thing. And has that happened? What happens next? What happens next? And that's the core group is my admin. She's taken over my calendar. She tells me where to be and what to do, which is exactly what I wanted. And my OBM. So she's, overseeing projects and things.
Online business manager. Yeah.
Online business manager. And I didn't even know that was a thing until somebody in the program told me about that. And then up to a dozen other people that are doing various things. So I've got 3 more English language facilitators to teach my corporate training, 2 French language facilitators because we have French speaking groups, and just a team that I understand I hired them based on what I've learned in the program around using strength finders, and then the feedback weekly when I get to come to you and be like, okay, so I still don't understand this. How do I go through this interview? What do I do about this person, or and so I've been able to manage or to build up the team that I know is the right team to actually allow me to actually leverage and grow the way that I want to, the systems. And so we're using the way that we're planning, the way that we're doing our goal setting, which goals we're even working towards. All of that is in place. So the system is sort of running smoothly. My biggest win is the fact that I've been in the professional world for over 2 decades. I can finally say I only check my email once a day.
Oh my God.
And when I do, it's only a handful of things, because my admin has control over and manages and has she's in charge of it. And I genuinely don't have to, because up till even just a couple months ago, I would let my day get really cluttered because I'd be trying to do my big picture planning and the big strategy things I needed, or working with one of my facilitators or teaching. But then I'd still be checking email because, what's come in? What do I have to deal with? that is my biggest win, I think, is just that I can look at my day, see big chunks of things that are really important that I can get done because my day isn't getting cluttered with things coming in and me having to like respond to them. So
Yeah.
I think that alone is like life changing.
It's amazing. I've been saying for years that it's really impossible to grow your business exponentially in between client appointments.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
not something that you can just put on your to-do list and like
Yeah.
try to wedge in 15 minutes here or
Yeah.
there. And so our job as women in business who want to grow exponentially and scale the business while working less
Yeah.
is about doing less and thinking more.
Mm-hmm.
And every aspect of the leverage business methodology,
Yeah.
you know, it dawned on me only like a couple of years ago that it's about removing you from the day-to-day operations of the business that are just focused on coasting or whack-a-moling things, as opposed to like, oh my God, let's work on, you know, 2 times to 4 times the business in a year or 2 years.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you other things that we've been able to implement, you know, where I did a brand refresh. We have a brand new website coming out right away. We have implemented the profit first model in how we manage our finances. I can look at cash flow projections more consistently. So I'm able to look at the most important things and actually develop what needs to be developed. And I've essentially turned over my whole business because I really was able to get away from focusing on private coaching and move all my branding and messaging and everything to the corporate training. And that takes a ton of time. And if I was still in the weeds, it still wouldn't be done. So there's lots of big project type of things that I've been able to focus on because I don't have to look at the day to day.
Yeah. And I really applaud you for taking this first year to put all the foundational pieces in place so that here in this second year, you've got this time, you've got this space to think. You're not like I said, whack-a-moling, like urgently putting out fires. You're being so strategic. And this is what you do for your clients, obviously, but it's really hard sometimes to do it for ourselves. What do you think? What do you anticipate being possible for your business growth in the next 1 to 3 years? Is it like 2 times, 4 times?
I'm going for $1 million revenue per year is my goal in the next year.
And you're doing everything to make that happen.
Yeah.
And amazing.
You know, you always think you should get there sooner, but I did need to get my team in place properly. And it took a little bit longer because I had a couple of missteps and, you know, hired even though it didn't line up exactly, but it was okay. And then no, you know, it wasn't. You need to go with your gut a little bit more. And I learned, you know, to make quicker decisions on things like that if something's not working. So it took a little longer. I also know in the coaching industry that number isn't very common. And so that's kind of my goal for the next year.
And yet, as you know, every time we meet, we're talking about normalizing women at $1 million with 14 weeks of vacation a year. This is not about putting on our masculine mask and just saying like, oh yeah, I want a 4th Lamborghini in my garage. Who cares? For us, it's about like the impact, making our own money and lots of it, and also having this delicious life where we can be with our kids and not say one more email and mommy will be right there. And we can go on vacations without our laptop. That's the whole point. But it's like normalized here. Daria, what are the aspects of the program that you think you lean on the most? I appreciate that you're almost virtually every Q&A call with me every week, and you always bring a question, and you really lean on that.
I do. Well, I think that would be the number one for me. So I'm a provider of business coaching, but I've always been a consumer of that because I believe that you'll get there faster with fewer mistakes or challenges if you're working with people who've already done the thing, and then you could just ask them, how did you do the thing? And so why would I not take advantage of that for people who are even further down than I am, down to where I want to be? So Q&As for sure, because something comes up between everyone, and I'm like, okay, now I need to talk to her about this. So I just have an ongoing note going that I'll throw my question in so I remember what I was going to ask you. And then my pod group and the facilitator with our yearly strategy sessions really just send that, like they create that roadmap. So those two, and then, I mean, the activators, I'm always so annoyed if anything else ends up booked in that day that I have to leave even for an hour because I don't want to miss anything. And usually I'm not a big like breakout room fan for other things, but these are always so valuable because you really do get insight and ideas from the groups that you're talking to. But the content itself, it's like, it's just all gold. I mean, and then you don't implement it all right away because you can't, but I have all my notes and I'll keep going back. But because I have a great team, I can also go to the end of these activators and take my action plan and just send it to them and be like, here's the future things we're going to do. So, and then I do enjoy the videos. And I even like, I updated my whole brand. I went through a bunch of the marketing videos actually and kind of followed your process to update my marketing plan. So
yeah, I really think I created it.
You're like,
but
that's great.
it's been years of slicing and dicing it so that it's a predictable process that works 100% of the time when you show up and you follow the recipe, right? That's what we're always saying. But this idea that you've got the personalized coaching, you've got the masterminding, you've got the content, you've got the quarterly meetings, you've got the community. Can you talk about the community for a moment?
Well, a lot of my people that I've found for my team were because I asked the community. So that's number one. And even a couple of people they've been vetted. A couple of them have worked specifically with you too, and I'm working with them. So that's huge. I've hired people from the community to do things I needed done. And I think it's just that they've got you and they're watching you through the process. Like Jeremy's in my pod group. And yesterday on the Q&A, we were talking through a challenge I'm going through. And he's like, you've got this, I'm like, Jeremy's there for me, right? So just having that small group that knows you better is great. And then you see them in all the activators and in lots of the Q&As. And then, like I know you've said, you thought that everybody would buy it for the content, and they do, but it also is the community because you do learn from your peers and you also go, okay, I'm not alone. Also seeing other people ask you questions that are the same challenges I've had. It's okay, I'm not alone. Yesterday in the Q&A, one physician was like, I don't know how to do this thing. And then another physician in the room was like, this is how you do it. And she's like, okay, right. Because it was like industry specific insight that the community could bring to the table. So I've made a point of having, coffee chats outside of these groups with people in the community, because that's how you build business as well. It's through relationships. So
yeah, like I said, you lean into all aspects of the program, which is why you're going to reach that million.
Yeah.
Anybody who shows up and follows the recipe does. 100% of the time.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody who's the bottleneck in her business and she's listening right now and she's hearing about your transformation and progress and she's like, should I book a call? Should I read the book? Should I take the assessment? Like, what would you say to her?
Like, you're going to get there if you have the formula. Like, why would you not access the formula? I was just on a walk yesterday with my husband, and I don't know how many times I've said, oh my God, it's the best program I've ever taken. This happened this week because I understood this and this and this. And so, I mean, you're much more likely to hit your goals knowing what to do compared to not knowing what to do. So this just gives you the full outline. Like, it just walks you to your finish line, essentially. So I don't know why you would ever not. And as far as investing in professional development, those who do, they're more successful, right? It just is.
That's what happened to me. I tried in the beginning, I tried doing it on my own. And then I actually became jealous and resentful. I'm showing you my like non-spiritual side, right? I would get resentful of other people who were growing so much faster than me. And I see they were investing in themselves, but I wasn't doing it. It was like, oh, I should be able to figure this out on my own. Or, oh, that's an investment that I'm not willing to make. And it's when I started getting over myself and saying, you know what? I am my best investment. If I invest in me, I get to keep it for years, for my whole career. And that's when everything changed for me. So, and because you offer this also.
Yeah, exactly. You learn it and then you reapply it for the whole life of your business or your career. It's not just the moment.
And like you reaching 1 million is not a one-time thing.
No.
It's $1 million or more every year for the rest of your career.
Yeah.
And so that adds up to, I don't know, for some people, 15, 40 million.
Yeah.
It's like, invest in yourself, I think is what we're saying. Thank you so much, Daria, for joining me and sharing the beginning of your journey as you get to $1 million. Super inspirational.
Happy to. Yes, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.